Hands up.
Options, which would be the pepper spray.
He's probably not in the best shape of his life.
Police work is very dangerous work.
Episode 4 of The Lens on BodyCamBust. We're gonna talk about an incident that happened between a suspect and a police officer that went down in a pretty strange way. I know, Greg, you didn't watch the video yet, and there's a reason why you didn't watch it yet. It's because we want to keep your reaction completely authentic. And as a jiu-jitsu practitioner watching this video, I had a few concerns about just how capable the police officer was able to control the suspects. So let's watch the video, Greg. I want to hear your opinion, and I'll give you some of my thoughts.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. It's going to bring back memories, I have a feeling.
All right, let's see what happens.
Think I'm playing, bro?
A clearly agitated man walks into the Youngstown Police Department lobby, demanding to speak to the chief of police. However, the officer working the window had his own opinion about who he should see.
I need to make a complaint so it can get finished today.
What can get finished?
Manifestation bullshit.
Manifestation?
Yes, manifestation bullshit.
Okay, I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about.
I need to talk to like your chief or something.
The chief only talks to people if they make an appointment. You have to make an appointment with the chief to see him.
I'm gonna have to call him or something.
Okay.
Rest of my time. You can call him. My phone's broke.
You know what? Let me call somebody from my... She's not in her office. Yeah, but everybody you need to talk to, that you want to talk to, are, you have to make an appointment to see them. Well, that's the way it's going to be. You can say no all you want.
I'll stand there.
Okay. I have someone who actually needs help. Can you have him? Sir, don't be difficult. Just, there's no one that will talk to you.
Probably will.
No.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about some kind of manifestation. It's that, you know what that tells me?
What?
That you're mental.
You're fucking retarded. Say that shit again.
You're mental.
Come say it to my face.
Calling him mental, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I have a few thoughts right off the bat. Obviously, the guy, he's having some mental issues, probably some delusions going on. This is a front counter officer by himself. I mean, obviously he's safe. I mean, it's all boxed in. But I think if I were in his position at this point, I would be calling in for a couple uniformed officers to contact him in the lobby and take him out of the way so this guy can do his job, but evaluate this gentleman for, you know, mental illness, is basically to determine whether or not he's a danger to himself or others. But calling him names through the window, that's definitely not helping the situation at all.
Yeah, it kind of feels like the cop maybe is having a bad day. To call someone mental, I could see how it could aggravate the individual, right?
Yeah, and that's one of the difficult things about, you know, being a police officer is you're dealing with these type of issues daily, and it can be frustrating, but, you know, you have to know how to choose your words to diffuse the situation here. And calling him mental it's escalating the problem in this man's mind here. So he needs to use a little, we used to call it verbal judo.
Okay. Well, let's see what happens next.
Say it.
You have to leave now, sir.
Or what?
You have to leave now, sir.
Call someone right the f***
I'm not calling anyone.
Yeah, you
you
are.
have to leave.
Why?
Leave.
Make me leave.
Leave.
Make me leave.
Make you leave?
Yeah. Make me leave.
Make sure this is on. You have to leave, sir.
Make me leave. Say that shit again.
You called me retarded.
Say that shit again.
You're mental.
Just from an officer safety standpoint, before he even opened the door, you could see that the man was pacing back and forth very rapidly. He's agitated. This man is looking for a fight. Again, from an officer safety standpoint, you don't contact somebody like this by yourself. You have somebody with you, and a cover officer. Two people it would be safer for everyone involved, including the man here in the red shirt, if they had two officers to deal with him. Just rolling in solo there like John Wayne. No, I don't want to. I'm just saying that's not what I would have done. Go ahead.
And I noticed he called him mental again. Like when he was first in what did you call it? The office or the booth? What is it called where he was in originally?
We would call it with my department, it would have been a front counter. He's a front counter officer. Yeah.
So when he was in a front counter, there's a separation. I don't know if the glass is bulletproof. Is it normally bulletproof or not?
It depends on the budget of the department and where they're at. But usually it's going to be really thick plexiglass. There's mistakes being made. There's lessons to be learned here with this officer. Like you said, calling him mental. If he felt that this man is mental, then the proper thing I would think would be to call a couple field officers in who are out there doing, patrolling to do an evaluation on this man. But again, he's already agitated, so you're going to call him mental. It's just making matters worse for everyone.
Okay, let's see what happens next.
Ain't no one mental, bro. Yeah. Think I'm playing, bro? Huh? Ain't nobody fucking mental. Fucking call somebody so I can fucking talk to someone.
Get off me.
Say that shit again. Say that shit again. We can do this all day.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Yeah. Bullshit.
Not today.
Yeah. Do I hear this shit out here?
Who is it? Yeah.
I have no idea.
All right, we're just gonna roll him over. Take my gun belt. Get him in. Before I get off. Give me my handcuff.
You're getting press charges on big boy.
All right. Roll on your stomach, bud. Roll over, my man.
Get the fuck off me, man. Get off me.
Roll on your stomach.
How the fuck I'm gonna roll over?
There you go.
Here, give me that.
Yep. I got something for you Monday, boy.
You did it today.
I got something for all of you.
Let's go.
I'm gonna see you again.
Hope so. Thank you.
So like ass punch. Yeah, okay.
Let's
Watch. I'm gonna get all your.
What's your first name?
You. That's what it is. Yeah, grab my. I'm calling the cops on that. Huh? You wanna look down there or something?
Are you on?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, stay on. You do first punch. That's why I got you.
He came in wanting to speak to somebody over
Nah,
me.
don't try and
And
talk
he
now.
starts talking about some kind of manifestation happening.
Exactly.
So I told him,
Exactly.
nobody's going to talk to you. Because you're acting like a mental.
No.
He got mad because I called him mental.
Exactly.
All right.
We got him.
We're probably going to need a transport,
Probably
and he
won't.
does have some mental health.
No, I don't. All right, bro.
All right, we're going out the front door. Come on.
You gonna fix these handcuffs?
Come on.
All right. You guys are getting sued.
First of all,
Wow.
that I don't want to really generalize, but I know a lot of times, police stations, the front counter officer is someone who's in their twilight of their career, or they're just kind of burned out on being out in the field, which I think if someone's burned out, they shouldn't be back there because they're dealing with the public, daily. But I don't know if it's training issues or just really poor decision making on that officer, but he's very lucky to be alive. I mean, that man had control of the cop, and he could have very easily disarmed him and used his weapon against him. So again, this is where that de-escalation and diffusing a situation comes into play. And a lot of times when you're dealing with a person like this man who was obviously delusional, he's having some, he's delusional. You just sort of feed into his delusion just a little bit to keep him calm. Even put somebody on the phone who's not the chief. He wanted to speak with the chief just to kind of talk to him a bit, kind of bring him down, bring a couple officers in. Hey, we're going to have you see the chief, but first we need to ask some questions, just again, do that quick evaluation as far as police officers have the authority in the United States to commit somebody for psychiatric help, put them on a hold for 72 hours. Ultimately, it's the psychiatrist who makes the decision whether they're going to be there for 72 hours. But the police officer has the authority to take them into custody and bring them in for the evaluation. And I think that's where they should have went with this. Right off the bat, he should have told the man, hey, I've got the chief's aides en route, something like that. I need you to just kind of stand off to the side and wait, and they'll come talk to you and get you an appointment with the chief. And then slipped in that psych eval on the guy and, take him into custody and get him some mental health care.
One thing I found interesting, you said you suspect that maybe the officer is in the twilight years of his career, because as an outsider, just looking at his physical build, he doesn't really seem to be in shape like you. I mean, you're retired, and ever since I've known you and you showed me pictures of you when you were younger, you were in great shape. You're still in great shape. But this officer and even some of his colleagues that you see in the video, they got a little bit of a few extra pounds. And I could see how that can make your life difficult in a physical altercation. He probably doesn't have the core strength in the middle of his body. Even the way he gets up, I notice, he has his hand on the floor and he's not facing the person that you're fighting with, right? Straight on. He actually turns his head. It looks like he's turning his head towards the vending machine. So if you have an opponent or someone attacking you, I could see how this guy could have easily hit him while he was down, whether with a punch or a kick. He's not even protecting his head from getting injured. I find that quite concerning. I mean, even in our jiu-jitsu school, when we train the kids, we always tell them, hands up if you're on the floor. If they push you in the playground, like hands up, use your legs to keep the attacker at a distance. But there's nothing here where you see him protecting his head, and there's nothing where he's using his feet to keep the distance, which I find quite scary.
Yeah, it is. I used to do extraditions for my department, meaning I would fly out to other agencies across the country and bring back prisoners who were wanted in San Diego. And so I had the opportunity to go to and interact with a lot of officers from, again, all over the country. And it's unfortunate that and there's a stereotype about cops as far as their, physical condition, but a lot of the agencies, they don't seem to have a whole lot of standards when it comes to physical fitness. I know when I came on the department with San Diego, well, first of all, you have to pass a pretty rigorous physical fitness test. It's they called it the fit test, just to graduate, to get that certificate. And then the first year you're on probation, and we had to go to the academy once a month to do this fit test. And you're doing it with all your gear on, with your gun belt, your vest and everything, which, that's a lot of weight in itself. The gun belt with the vest, you're talking another 35, 40 pounds. But we had to pass this test for a whole year, every month. And if you didn't pass, you got to do some retraining, and then you'd have one retest. And if you didn't pass that, then you're done. You were gone. A lot of times they would find other jobs for the officers who weren't able to pass, like dispatchers or what have you. But I remember there was an officer who failed the physical fitness test during that probation period, and they actually sued the city of San Diego under ADA, which is strange, and they won. So San Diego removed that standard. I think overall, my department, San Diego, that I was with, a majority of the officers, I think, look pretty good, as far as physically fit. But another thing being fit brings to the table is command presence. When you're dealing with somebody, they're sizing you up. You're sizing them up, they're sizing you up. And if you look like you can take care of yourself, a lot of times there won't be a problem right there. They'll comply. But looking like you're out of shape and, being out of breath, that's a hindrance to the job. And also, if I have a cover officer rolling up on me and I'm dealing with someone like this, I want to make sure they can take care of themselves as well. They're not just going to be on the radio screaming for help.
Greg, I want to get your insight at this specific timestamp. We'll start at 3:22. I find it quite scary where things seem to escalate further when the police officer pulls out his gun and how easily the suspect controls him. When is it safe to pull out your gun? Because I feel like by the time you try to go for your gun, I'm not a cop, you tell me. By the time you try to reach for your gun, the suspect can close the distance fairly quickly. 2 meters is not a long distance, so it's very short, right? Is there like a safe zone when a cop should pull out a weapon or not pull out a weapon, or there's no real rule to that, rule of thumb?
Is if your life's in danger or someone else's life's in danger, you can pull a gun, and that may translate to, if someone's choking you out and they're on top of you, I would argue that that's a justification for the use of deadly force, and that may mean while you're on the floor pulling your gun and having contact with that gun and the person when you're pulling the trigger. But again, and whether that's ultimately justified will be up to the courts. But it doesn't have to be. You don't have to match weapons. If somebody, you don't have to. In other words, if that person doesn't have to be armed in order to be able to use lethal force against them. If they're killing you with their hands, you're justified in using lethal force against them. On this situation, I don't know. I think I personally probably would have went to one of the what they call less than lethal options, which would be the pepper spray, which I think is very effective. The negative thing about pepper spray is if you use it, you're also going to be getting some of that stuff in your eyes, and it's horrible. Or the taser, and the taser if there's two ways of using the taser. One is with the barbs, and that's when you're at a distance with them, and the other one is what they call a drive stun, where you're just kind of ramming it up, into their body and pulling the trigger. And it's like the old school, tasers that you have to push up against somebody's body in order for them to work. And those are usually pretty effective. The new tasers. The old tasers weren't so effective, but the new ones they're carrying are really, really good.
But also, like, if we go back to, like I said, 322, that's around 322, 324. That's when you see him, like, going for his gun. Even if, obviously, that was his intent to pull out the gun, wouldn't it have been better for him to, create distance before reaching for the gun? Because right here, like, he seems quite static with his movement, right?
Yeah, this is really difficult to watch, just on so many levels. This officer, and I hope you learned a lesson from this. All this was avoidable. And then come on, you're going to open the door. The man is literally challenging you to a fight, and then you're going to call him a mental again. No, it's embarrassing to watch. It really is. And I'm glad that he didn't get injured. I'm glad that the mental, I'm assuming he had mental issues. I don't know if it was mental issues or drugs, one of the two. He's lucky to be alive. Both of them are lucky to be alive right now. And it was all unavoidable. All unavoidable.
Okay, so let's continue watching till we hear what the other people or the other officer thinks about the incident. And then let's see if you agree or disagree with the other former police officer. You saw that? It seems like they took him outside of the building. I would have thought they would have put him in a jail cell within the precinct.
That's a police station. And okay, I'm just going to tell you the way San Diego PD is, and I know a lot of these other agencies are the same. We had, first of all, San Diego PD, we have nine divisions, like 9 separate police stations separated from our headquarters. And municipal agencies, like these guys were city cops, they weren't sheriffs. It's usually the sheriff's department that managed the jails. So I'm assuming what they're doing, my guess is they're taking him to probably put a psych hold on him. That's what I would imagine. That's what I would be doing, putting a psych hold on this guy. They could also be clearing him for a psych hold to take him and book him into jail. But no, that's what they're doing it's very common.
So just so I understand, not every police station has a jail cell?
No.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No. Matter of fact, like our police stations, they had holding cells, I guess you'd call them. And they were just used while we were at the station processing the suspect, or we would use them to question them, before we took them to jail. And then we would, there's a booking process. We would have to get the arrest approved by a watch commander at our headquarters, at San Diego PD headquarters. We would have to fill out a declaration that basically shows the probable cause for the arrest. And then we'd have to fill out some booking paperwork for the county. The watch commander would approve it. Then we'd transport him to the jail, or her to the jail. And then there's a separate booking process that we go through with the sheriffs, which include, they're evaluating their mental condition and also health condition. If they feel that this person should be in a hospital, like say they're having heart problems or what have you, then we transport them from the jail to the hospital to either get a clearance from them or have them admitted. But no, that's not all police. Not all police stations have jails.
Oh, okay, good to know. So not all police stations have jails. Good. Okay, so now we're gonna move on. We're gonna see what John Morris a retired Philadelphia police officer has to say. And he has a discussion with Mr. Alex Smith, who seems to be the YouTube founder of another YouTube channel called Midwest Safety. So let's see what they have to say, and I'm curious if you agree with what John Morris is about to say.
All right, John. So shorter video today, but definitely pretty interesting. And I think you have a few things you want to talk about. Just reading your face and knowing you. First impressions. What do you think?
I think that the officer made the bad decision of leaving the booth he was in. Like, when I was an officer, someone who's assigned to the inside, you have to stay on the inside. And he allowed his emotions to get carried away to literally walk out there and challenge this guy. And it's apparent that the man had some mental stuff going on, just abrasive with him. And he went out there, challenged him, and, rolling around on the ground, had a gun on him. That could have went really, really bad. That was a bad decision, and I thought it was just not a good look on an officer at all.
For sure. And to be clear, we're not trying to say that this is a bad officer. We're not trying to give him a hard time. We've all been there. We've all made mistakes in our careers.
Absolutely.
So we're not trying to be hard on anyone. All right, so you mentioned him bringing out his gun, and I was wondering tactically what you thought about that.
If he was going to go out there, which was already a bad decision, he should have locked his weapon up because the man had already displayed some aggressive behavior. So he seemed like he was going through some, mental emergency. But it still could have ended bad because the gun was on his hip and he's on the ground, and the man was over top of him, and it was very close to him.
All right, so here's my other question. I mean, the officer took his gun out of the holster. What do you think about that?
That I didn't really understand. He said he should have locked up. Could you explain that? Lock up his weapon?
I don't know. I agreed with everything he had to say up until that. We don't know if this man was armed that he was contacting outside. I mean, why would you leave your gun in a locked up box or whatever he's talking about and then contact a possible suspect? We don't know. This man's agitated. He's displaying signs of a possible mental illness, or perhaps he's under the influence of something. Why would you go out there unarmed? If you made the horrible decision to go contact him by yourself, why would you go out there unarmed? It makes no sense. Again, he already reiterated pretty much everything I was saying earlier as far as, it was a bad decision for him to go out there and talk to him, especially without a cover officer. But no, I 100% disagree with leaving the gun inside. That makes zero sense.
Also, he did say, like, he made a bad decision doesn't mean he's a bad police officer. But I think visually, from what we see on camera, he's probably not in the best shape of his life. And that's something that he could, take control of. Maybe, hit the gym a little bit, watch what you're eating. I mean, look at this former police officer, John Morris. He looks to be in better shape than that guy in the video. And Greg, you definitely look in better shape than that guy in the video. So, they seem to be very PC, but I feel like, if you're a soldier, you need to be in shape. You're a firefighter, you should be in shape. You're a bodybuilder, you got to be in shape. I feel like to be a police officer, you should be a certain, be in certain physical fitness. It should be part of the job.
No, I agree. And again, officers, I know that we were evaluating one another. There would be times where you're on a call and it's, you can tell it's going to not be fun once you get there. And then the cover officer they send is perhaps somebody that you don't have a whole lot of faith in. Are they going to be able to give you the physical assistance you need? If it turns into a foot chase and you go over say an 8-foot fence, an 11-foot fence during this foot pursuit, are they going to be able to go over the fence? There's a lot of questions that go through your head. I think, what is it, the old saying? It's fight as you train, train as you fight, or something to that effect. Police work is very dangerous work, and you've got all this gear on your belt, but that you can't just lean on that 100%. The first tool you have is, first of all, what you're saying, your brain, your, like I said, we used to call it verbal judo, being able to diffuse situations. And I know I would much rather have diffused a situation, had the person comply, and take them into custody without any physical struggles at all, rather than rolling around on the floor. You're rolling around on the floor, you're damaging your uniform, you're hurting yourself, the person that you're fighting with is getting hurt. It's a much just less stressful experience if you're able to just talk somebody into complying with you. That guy, there was a lot of mistakes made. But again, I totally disagree with locking the gun up. That makes zero sense. I'm curious of what the other man thinks of that decision or that comment.
He shouldn't have did that. He was already, in a compromised position, and he's rolling around on the ground. It could have gotten taken from him.
Yeah. And
then what? That could have been a very, very bad day and a bit of a different conversation.
That officer was on his back, kind of a scary position, grappling on the ground like that. You're shaking your head. Yeah. I know you got more thoughts on this.
So I know we spoke about this a bit before, like he's on his back. That's another thing we're thinking, like now in, 2024, don't you think that police officers should be required not only to be in physical shape, but also train in grappling, in jiu-jitsu? Because I feel like there's so many ways you could control people if you know how to grapple. And there's so many resources to receive proper jiu-jitsu training. I just wanted your thoughts on that.
100%. I don't know what agency that officer was with. I know, there's definitely different standards of training throughout the country. My department, it was heavy on the Gracie jiu-jitsu training is what we were doing, and a lot of ground fighting. So, again, I don't think that man was fit for, he was picking a fight with somebody who I don't think he had a chance of winning with the skills I saw. And I do agree, he should not have pulled his gun. You pull a gun if you're planning on using lethal force. I don't know if his intent was to scare the guy. I think he was, again, I'll go back to, probably the pepper spray or a taser would have been definitely appropriate and probably a lot more effective than what he did. He's, again, lucky to be alive.
Yeah, he's on the ground, and he looked like he was having a hard time just, maneuvering his body. And if you don't do something to remain fit, you're going to get up. I mean, I look at that scene, and I'm like, that guy could have did whatever he wanted to him.
So I don't know if you noticed that. It seems like they edited some parts out, but I think he's alluding to that the guy wasn't in shape, right? He said he had a hard time maneuvering his body. I think that was a polite way of him saying the officer wasn't in great shape.
It's hard to disagree with that opinion. He obviously wasn't in very good condition.
How is this going to turn out? And the guy said, I could do this all day. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is about to get really, really bad. But thank goodness he was able to get up and the other officers came and was able to help him and get the guy restrained. But that was a bad look. Very, very bad.
I guess I thought there were some places where he could have tactically disengaged as opposed to continuing to bring it to the guy when he's not going to win that fight. I mean, he's just not.
Yeah.
I never heard him get on his radio either. I don't know if maybe, I don't think I heard it on his radio either.
I didn't hear him do that. And he should have done that before he left the booth, even though he shouldn't have left. But I never heard him get on the radio and call for help. I'm watching the video, and I'm like, the other officers arrived, but I never heard him call them. So somebody either told them or somebody saw something or called for help. But he was saved. It could have been really, really bad.
It could have been a bad situation. That was exactly my thought. Guardian angel or someone in the office.
Again, I think he made a really poor decision by contacting that guy by himself. As far as the other officers showing up, there's a good chance on the police radios there's an emergency button, and if you push it, the dispatcher automatically, they know what radio it's coming from. So I'm sure that's probably what happened. There's one point where you could kind of see him, or it looked like he might have been reaching down for where the radio would be. So I'm sure he probably pushed that emergency button. Dispatcher's on the air. Hey, we're getting a we called an EMER button. We're getting an EMER button from the front counter officers. So, and then usually whoever's inside the station, it looked like there was probably a detective and then another officer came in to the rescue, literally.
All right. And I guess my last question is, if someone's going through a mental health crisis, do you tell them they're mental?
No. No, not at all. That's not the word you would use. Like, me personally, I'm not saying I'm, as a perfect officer, I just did my best, but I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to try to de-escalate. We're trained to de-escalate and try to be non-hostile. It seems like this officer, and like, I'm not trying to put him down. It just seems like he handled it like he was already having a bad day. That's what I saw. Yeah. And it just like the way he spoke to him just made it worse. You don't call somebody mental that's already having a bad day. You just talk to him, try to de-escalate, try to make him calm as best you can, That's why communication is the key when you're, a police officer. You got to speak to people, you got to be able to try to relate with them on some, level. So, it was, I didn't understand it at all.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, John. Always appreciate your candid feedback and insight. Calling a ball, a strike. And thanks a lot, John.
Thanks, Alex. Appreciate it.
Think I'm playing, bro? Huh? Ain't nobody fucking mental.
The suspect was charged with felony aggravated robbery, 2 counts of assault on a police officer, obstructing official business, and 2 counts of menacing.
What is aggravated robbery? Where's the robbery? I'm trying to understand.
I don't know if he took a piece of that cop's equipment off his belt or something. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I saw that and I was thinking, I mean, I can see the assault on an officer obstructing official business. I mean, there's kind of sections and things that we don't use there, but I mean, assault on an officer for sure. I'm curious if they took him in for a psych eval as well.
And what's the obstruction official business? Because can you elaborate? What does that mean exactly?
It's the officers there doing his job. He was a desk officer. He's helping people coming into the front office of the police station, and this man's behavior took him away from his assigned duty, which was running the front desk. So no one was there while this was going on.
What's menacing?
I don't know. What is it? he was being a menace. We don't have a section like that. I mean, we would have, battery on an officer, obstruction, obstructing the officer, assault. I mean, all those I see. Again, I'd love to know the details of the aggravated robbery. What did he steal? I'm guessing he stole some type of piece of equipment off the guy.
Okay. Maybe it was when they were fighting over the gun.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what happened. It's funny, I was thinking about my department, San Diego. We created what we called a psychological emergency response team, PERT. Acronyms, cops use acronyms. And so there would be an officer in the field every watch. We had 3 watches, day watch, second watch, and then graveyards. And there would be an officer in the field with a clinician, someone who was a trained psychiatric clinician would be in the police car with the officer. And like I said, we were trained to deal with the people with mental illness, but the clinicians had way more training than us and also way more resources. Where our go-to was county mental health, they may have other clinics they could take these people to where they were really getting valid help. And I think San Diego PD was the first agency in the country to create this unit, and I know that it's starting to take off in other states. So hopefully this department gets a PERT clinician, because I think they need the training.
All right then. Well, thanks for giving your insight. Till next time, everyone, please subscribe to our channel and check out these other great videos.